Julian Adeyemi had everything a man could dream of: wealth, power, global business connections. His name opened doors in places even money couldn't. From hotels in Dubai to restaurants in Accra, from estates in Lekki to factories in Aba, Julian was the man behind it all. They called him the bread king of Africa and bowed when he entered a room. His companies touched everything: food, oil and gas, real estate, cryptocurrency, logistics, even fashion. He was just 34, yet he had already done what most men only prayed for. But beneath the expensive Agbadas, the private jets, and the elite boardroom meetings, Julian still walked with a limp. Before now, Julian used to be just another poor bread seller. Back then, he was the little boy running barefoot in traffic with a tray of steaming hot bread bounced on his head and his mother trailing behind with a polythene bag full of change. After his father died when he was 8, life descended into full-blown poverty. He and his mother did everything to survive, from hawking sachet water to pushing a wheelbarrow full of bread at dawn. Every day after school, Julian would change into his hustle clothes and dash into the streets. That was his own childhood: sweat, noise, insults from Danfo drivers, and the smell of fresh Agiga bread. What the world didn't know was that bread saved his life. It paid his school fees. It fed him and his mother. It gave him a future. In university, while his mates were partying and snapping pictures at concerts, Julian was sneaking into hostels and buka kitchens to supply bread. He was hustling. One lucky day, a school principal who loved his bread gave him a contract to supply for the entire boarding school. From one school, it became 10. From 10, it became 20. That was how he made his first million, from bread. He didn't stop there. Julian expanded, opened his own bakery, then another, then a third. 10 years later, he owned multiple bakeries, restaurants, hotels, fuel stations, and estates. And he never forgot where he came from. He built a bakery in every area he once hawked bread. That was Julian. Humble, silent, but dangerous with business. But with all his wealth, one thing remained unsolved. Julian had never known love. He didn't know how to ask a woman out. The idea alone gave him hot flashes. Growing up, his classmates used to laugh at him and call him half-past-one because his legs weren't the same length. One accident at age 6, one wrong herbal treatment, and that was how Julian ended up with a limp. He walked like time itself was dragging him. It affected him deeply. While other boys were giving girls letters and chewing gum, Julian was hiding in corners, afraid to even make eye contact. The fear never left him. Even as a billionaire, whenever a woman looked at him too long, his brain would whisper, "She pities you." His mother, Mama Adeyemi, tried everything: prayers, fasting, even arranged him on Zoom calls with Daughters of Prayer Warriors. Julian would just smile, limp away, and lock himself in his office. But one Sunday morning, everything changed. He saw her in church. Her name was Ruth Okonkwo. She was in the choir, dressed in gold and white, swaying like the Holy Spirit lived in her voice. And by pure coincidence or divine arrangement, they ended up sitting side by side during closing prayers. For the first time in his life, Julian did something crazy. After service, he turned to her, smiled, and summoned all the boldness of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. "Hi, I'm Julian. Julian Adeyemi. It's nice to meet you." She smiled. "Nice to meet you too. I'm Ruth." They exchanged contacts. That evening, he couldn't stop smiling. Was this how it started? Was this what love felt like? Julian had never known it, but now for the first time, he was willing to try. And that was how it began. After a few weeks of texting, calling, and awkward church-side conversations, Julian finally summoned the courage of the 12 tribes of Israel. His palms were sweaty, his limp more pronounced from anxiety, but he did it. He asked Ruth out, and to his eternal surprise, she said yes. Julian couldn't believe it. He was over the moon. That night, he didn't sleep a wink. He kept replaying the moment she smiled and said yes. For the first time in his life, he felt seen, chosen, worthy. And from that moment, he went all in. He spared no expense. Gifts rained like manna from heaven: flowers, handbags, gold jewelry, perfume, shopping trips, and spa dates. Julian even paid for 2 luxury vacations that Ruth went on, trips he himself never attended. He gave her parents a brand new generator, paid off their debts, and upgraded their house. A few months into the relationship, Julian started talking about marriage. Ruth blushed, giggled, and played coy, but never said no. Eventually, he proposed. Ruth accepted with a squeal, and Julian believed his love story had finally begun. He brought her home to meet Mama Adeyemi. Ruth came dressed in Iro and Buba, wearing a wide smile and holding a basket of fruits. She greeted respectfully, knelt to say hello, even helped Mama cook stew in the kitchen. Everything looked perfect on the surface. But the moment she left, Mama Adeyemi locked the door and turned to her son. "Julian, her eyes are not pure." Julian blinked. "Mama, what are you saying?" "I said her spirit does not align with mine." The way she was scanning the chandelier, the center rug, the fridge, the flower vase, even the curtain rods. On. Her eyes are too sharp, always moving, always searching. It's like her mind is counting money while her lips are smiling. Be careful, my son. Don't let her beauty blind you. Know her well before it's too late. Julian sighed. "Mama, you say this about everyone. Ruth is different. She's kind, gentle, godly. Give her a chance." Mama shrugged and walked away. "I have warned you. My spirit doesn't lie." Despite the warning, wedding preparations kicked off in full force. Aso-ebi was selected, hall booked. Caterers, photographers, decorators, dancers, all paid for in advance. Julian even went the extra mile to buy Ruth a brand new white Range Rover as a surprise wedding morning gift. The morning of the wedding, Julian ignored his mother's superstitions and decided to deliver the car personally. When he arrived at Ruth's house, her parents were ecstatic. "Ah, our in-law, you are here. What a pleasant surprise." He smiled weakly, holding the car key behind him. "I came to drop something for my bride." They ushered him in with laughter and excitement. "She's upstairs getting ready. You can go surprise her." Julian limped quietly up the stairs. The hallway was quiet except for the sound of laughter coming from a bedroom. He paused when he heard Ruth's voice, loud and confident, echoing through the door. "That man? Please don't make me laugh. Have you seen his leg? Have you seen the way he limps like one spoilt robot? It irritates me. Sometimes I want to vomit just looking at him." Her friends laughed. "Then why are you marrying him?" one of them asked. Ruth hissed. "Because the man is rich. Are you new here? I'm not stupid. I must collect my share. Bread seller turned billionaire? A beg. He is nice, yes, but not my type. I like my men tall, dark, fine, and whole. Julian is not whole. He's short. He limps. And that smile he does like cartoon. Annoying." Another friend asked, "So after marriage, what next?" Ruth said, "I go chop well. After some years, I bounce. I'll go back to Toby. That's my real man. Julian is just my escape from poverty." "Toby? That broke mechanic that slapped you in public?" "Yes, he loves me. He's rough, but that's how I like it. He disciplines me, and I love him. Julian is just a sponsor." Julian stood outside the door frozen. He couldn't believe his ears. His hand dropped the car key. His chest tightened. He felt like vomiting. Quietly, he turned and walked down the stairs, his legs trembling, his limp heavier than ever. "Julian, did you see her?" her father asked as he passed. "No, sir. She's busy upstairs," Julian muttered and walked straight to the car. His best man, Michael, opened the door. "Guy, what's up? You look like you saw a ghost." Julian didn't speak. As soon as the door shut, he broke down in tears. "Julian, talk to me. What happened?" "Nothing," Julian said, wiping his face. "Let's go." They drove off in silence. When Julian got home, he went straight to his study, locked the door, and made a call. "Barrister," he said calmly, "come to the house now." "Sir, today is your wedding. Can it wait till after?" 15 minutes. Don't be late." When the lawyer arrived, Julian gave clear instructions. "Transfer all my assets, all my businesses, all my properties to my mother's name. Every single thing. My name should not be tied to a single account or property. I want to be a poor man before 10 a.m. today." The lawyer blinked. "Sir, are you sure?" "Do it, now." Documents were signed, calls were made. By the time Julian dressed for the wedding, legally, he had nothing. But he still showed up at the church. He smiled. He danced. He posed for photos. Ruth twirled through her bouquet, laughed for the camera, oblivious, completely unaware that the wedding she celebrated so loudly was built on a lie she herself told first. And Julian, smiling in his custom white agbada, was just waiting for the right moment to flip the switch. A few days after the wedding, Julian quietly drove to his mother's house. Mama Adeyemi was sitting on her veranda sipping tea when she saw him enter with a blank face. "Julian, what are you doing here? Where is your new wife? Shouldn't you be swimming in honeymoon soup by now?" Julian sat down slowly, his voice low. "Mama, I need to tell you something." He spilled everything. What he overheard Ruth say to her friends on the morning of their wedding, how she mocked his limp, called him disgusting, and admitted she was only marrying him for money, planning to dump him later and run back to Toby. Mama Adeyemi nearly dropped her teacup in shock. "Ahin, are you playing with my brain? Why didn't you scatter the wedding instantly? You still allowed that snake to enter our family compound. Julian, are you mad?" "Mama, I wanted to teach her a small lesson. I already transferred all my properties and businesses to you that same morning. I told the accountant to only send monthly feeding allowance to my personal account. As far as anyone knows, I own nothing." Mama Adeyemi stared at him, hands on her head. "Jesus of Nazareth. My son, you carried ancestral wisdom that day. I always said it. I knew that girl had demon eyes that move like CCTV camera. She came here smiling and frying plantain. Meanwhile, she was calculating my gold spoons and chandelier. God pass her." A few weeks into the marriage, Ruth's true colors surfaced like rain-drenched makeup. She started tossing demands like confetti. "Julian, I need 5 million naira for my mother's operation. My brother wants to start a car business. He needs 20 million. I want to fix my nails, do my hair, and buy wigs from Turkey. Total is just N3 million. Julian remained calm. "I don't have money. My mother owns everything now." Ruth laughed like a mad woman. "Julian, you dey whine me? You gave me N2 million last month to buy handbag. Which mother owns your money? You want to use poverty to prank me? Be serious." "I was rich, not anymore. I work for my mother now. She sends monthly allowance. That's what runs this house." Ruth checked his account, his alerts, his wallet, and truly there was nothing. She cried, called friends. "That man is a fraud, a whole me living on upkeep. God forbid." Her friends hyped her up. "File for divorce, collect half. If he says he's broke, court will open his books. You go chop your share." She called her mother. "Mummy, I can't do this anymore. He's just useless. No money, no soft life. He just limps around like the houseboy." Mama Ruth paused. "My daughter, marriage is for better or for worse. You said he used to take care of you. Maybe he's facing hard times. Respect yourself and calm down." "Mummy, I am suffering." "Then suffer in peace. Don't bring shame to this family. That man was good to you. Let your greed come down." But Ruth didn't listen. She started acting possessed. Every small thing, she would yell, throw things, insult Julian. Eventually, 6 months later, she filed for divorce, confident that the court would hand her half of Julian's kingdom. Court day arrived. Ruth entered in full makeup, designer gown, sunglasses, walking like she was walking into victory. Julian came in simply dressed, his lawyer carrying one small brown envelope. Ruth's lawyer stood tall. "My client is seeking 50% of her husband's total wealth. She deserves it." Julian's lawyer stood calmly. "My lord, my client, Mr. Julian Adeyemi, currently owns nothing. Not a car, not a house, not a business. Everything he had was legally transferred to his mother before the wedding. As of now, his account balance is N10,000. And if the court so pleases, we are willing to divide it equally. Mrs. Ruth will get him 5,000. "What?" Ruth screamed. She jumped from her seat like hot pepper, entered her skirt. "You're wicked. God will punish you. You this crippled man, that your other leg will break and scatter." The courtroom froze. Julian remained calm. He looked at her with eyes filled with quiet fire. "Ruth, I loved you. I was willing to lay the whole world at your feet, but you didn't deserve it. I overheard you on our wedding day. I heard every word you told your friends. That was the day I removed my heart." He signed the divorce paper and stood up. "Good luck with Toby. he added, then walked out like royalty. Ruth returned to her parents' house with red eyes and shaky legs. Mama Ruth opened the door and stared. "You came back? With what face? You chased a good man because of greed? The man that carried your entire family on his head? And you called him a cripple? You will regret this, Ruth. In fact, you have already started. This is my husband's house. Return to your own. Go and suffer where you belong." She slammed the door. Ruth called her friends. None picked. With nowhere else to go, she found a tiny one-room apartment and started working as a cleaner in a small restaurant. Every day she cleaned the floors, washed the toilets, and served customers who barely noticed her. And every night she sat by her tiny window, looking up at the stars, wondering how she lost the only man who ever truly loved her. Julian never imagined the divorce would break him like it did. Some nights he would sit alone in his home office, staring into nothing, thinking about when he and Ruth first started talking. The butterflies, the excitement, the hope. He truly believed he had found his own, but all of it had turned into dust. To distract himself, Julian buried his head in work. Back-to-back meetings, endless emails, long hours at the office. He didn't want to feel anything. Mama Adeyemi noticed. She called him every 2 hours like an unpaid monitoring spirit. "My son, I know it is paining you, but life goes on. Ooh, don't kill yourself over that Guinness fowl. That girl is bad luck. I have started fasting and prayer to wash away her footprint from your house. God is still alive, my son. Don't close your heart. A good woman will come. Just keep your eyes open this time. Wide." Julian smiled, but he wasn't ready to think of love. Not yet. Then one day his longtime housekeeper quit suddenly. Left with no choice, Julian told his secretary to find someone new. After a few days of quiet interviews, she finally hired a woman named Mary Bassi. Mary was quiet, respectful, and efficient. She moved like someone who didn't like noise. She cooked well, cleaned thoroughly, never took anything that wasn't hers. Julian, suspicious of everyone now, deliberately left valuables on the floor and counted the wine bottles. Nothing ever went missing. She was different. Even the way she walked had quiet confidence. She didn't look like someone who should be cleaning. She looked like someone who should be in a boardroom closing million naira deals. Then one night, everything changed. Julian hadn't eaten all day. He'd been in his bedroom for hours, ignoring calls and pushing through stress. When Mary came to call him for dinner, she found him lying cold on the floor. She panicked. Sir, oh my God!" With no one else in the house, Mary carried him, on her back, to the hospital. When Julian woke up, his mother was by his bedside with a bottle of anointing oil, shouting in tongues. "Holy Ghost fire! My son will not die. Back to sender. Every enemy of my son's joy, fall and perish." Julian groaned. "Mama, please, it's just stress. Keep quiet there. Do you think this is ordinary? You've never fainted before in your life. It's Ruth's leftover spirit. I told you. I said it. Mummy, please, it's just fatigue." But Mama Adeyemi was already dialing the prayer warriors. "Sister Rebecca, gather them. Bring the church bell. We are going to war." Julian was discharged 2 days later. Back home, he agreed to work remotely for a while. One evening, as he walked past the balcony, he saw Mary sitting on a chair, deeply engrossed in a book. She didn't even notice him approaching. Curious, he peeped. She was reading a business strategy book, one he himself had read years ago. "Mary," he called softly. She jumped. "Sir, I'm sorry, I didn't see you there." No, it's fine. What book is that?" She hesitated, then showed him. He smiled. "You read this?" "Yes, sir. I like business books." "Interesting. What did you study?" She looked at him plainly. "Business administration." Julian raised his brows. "Really? That's impressive. I never knew my housekeeper was a graduate." Mary raised her own brow slightly, calm but firm. "People don't wear their degrees on their foreheads, sir. And yes, I'm educated. I have a master's degree in business administration." Julian blinked. "Wow. Impressive indeed. So how did you end up as my housekeeper?" She chuckled. "It's a long story, sir." Julian respected her boundaries. But after that day, he found himself throwing small business questions at her. Casual ones. Her answers stunned him. She didn't just understand business. She saw between the lines. Eventually, he began involving her in light strategy discussions. She dissected complex policies, explained confusing trends, and offered advice even his million naira consultants couldn't think of. After dinner, they often sat on the balcony discussing stock markets, trade laws, and policy changes. Day by day, Julian began to admire her. She didn't try to impress him. She didn't flirt. She didn't gossip. She simply existed with dignity. One evening, he called her into his home office. "Mary, how would you like to work with me? Not as a housekeeper, but in my company, as a strategist. You're too intelligent to be sweeping floors." Mary was stunned. "Sir, are you serious?" "Dead serious. Say yes." She smiled. "Yes, I would love to." That was the beginning of a new chapter neither of them expected. Mary resumed her new role at Julian's company the following Monday. From the moment she stepped into the glass building, heads turned. The quiet maid had now become the CEO's analyst and personal advisor. Julian introduced her with calm confidence. "Meet Mary, our new strategy lead. She'll be advising me directly. Treat her like you treat me." Mary didn't say much. She didn't need to. Her brain did the talking. She immediately took charge of several pending business reviews and shocked everyone by dissecting complex reports with ease. Executives who once ignored her at home now looked at her like she walked on water. Julian was proud. Every time she spoke in a meeting, he would sit back with a small smile, watching everyone slowly realize what he had already seen. After 2 weeks, Mary came to his home office one evening, her bag already packed. "Sir, I think it's time I move out. I'm now part of your company's top team. It's not appropriate." Julian looked up with a smirk. "So who will help me clean my room when you leave?" Mary laughed. "You have money. Hire a cleaner." "No, not the same. Please stay. I don't want to come back to an empty house. Just stay until you're ready." Mary paused, looked into his eyes, and nodded slowly. "Okay." From that moment, they rode to work together every morning and returned home together every evening. The staff started whispering, the guards started winking, the drivers, the receptionists, the IT guys. Everyone believed something was going on. Julian didn't care. They grew closer. Every evening, they would sit on the balcony, sipping tea or wine, talking about life, work, dreams, and old wounds. Mary would laugh at his jokes, and he'd watch her like she was something he didn't know he needed. One night, under the soft lights of the balcony, Julian suddenly grew quiet. Mary looked up. "Are you okay?" He turned to her, breathing slowly. "Mary, I like you." She froze. The glass of wine in her hand trembled. What? "I said I like you. I've liked you for months now. I just didn't know how to say it." Mary was speechless. Her eyes widened. I like you too, but I didn't want to cross the line. I didn't want to ruin things. You were my boss, and I didn't even know if you saw me like that." Julian reached for her hand. "Please cross every line, Mary. Every single one." They laughed, and that was how it began. They started dating quietly. They kept it respectful at work, but at home they slowly fell into a rhythm. Late-night conversations turned into early morning breakfasts. Silence became comfort. One evening, while curled up in the living room, Julian looked at her and asked, "Mary, can I ask you something?" "Of course. What really happened to you? I mean, how did a woman like you end up in my house as a maid?" Mary sighed deeply. "I once owned a company. I co-founded it with my husband. We ran it for 4 years. Then I found out he already had a wife and children. He used me to build the business and then kicked me out. He bribed the board and legally erased me from the company. I returned from a trip and found all my belongings on the floor. No job, no home, no money. I didn't know what else to do. So I picked the first job I saw, your housekeeper." Julian was silent for a long moment. "You were betrayed by someone you trusted most." Mary nodded. "Yes." Julian sighed. Ruth mocked my limp to her friends. She said she felt like vomiting every time she looked at me. She never loved me. She loved my money. So I gave her nothing." Mary leaned closer. "But you have love to give, Julian, and you deserve to receive it too." He looked into her eyes and without a word pulled her close. They held each other tightly, two people who had been broken, bruised, and discarded. now finding healing in each other. The next weekend, Julian took Mary to see his mother. Mama Adeyemi watched Mary with hawk eyes for 2 hours straight. Then she smiled. This one has sense. This one has peace in her spirit. This one is the wife I prayed for. Oya, kneel down, let me bless you. They got married 2 months later, quietly. No drama, no press, just close friends, family, and God. No long lace, no overhyped decoration, just two people who had been through fire, finally finding their rest. Months later, Mary walked into Julian's home office with trembling hands. Julian, I have news. He looked up, worried. What is it? She held up the test strip, eyes glistening. I'm pregnant. Julian stood frozen, his mouth opened. Then he fell to his knees, tears filling his eyes. I'm finally whole, he whispered. And for the first time in his life, Julian Adeyemi cried tears of pure joy. Thank you for watching. What do you think of this story? If you were in Julian's shoes, would you have gone ahead with the wedding like he did? Or would you have called off the wedding? Let me know of your thoughts in the comment section below. Until I bring another intriguing story your way again, bye for now.